Welcome back to Sixes and Sevens Footy Nerds special guest. This guest we've got is the great Semi Walker. This podcast was pre-recorded a couple of months ago when Semi was injured. But as you do know, with our special guests, we don't dive into their careers and where they're at the moment. It's about what they've done as a young half coming through, what their gems are for young kids listening, for parents listening, what they do away from the game, and what makes them the top of the tree in their position, which is sixes and sevens. Have a great listen. Semi Walker does drop a couple of bombs about his kicking game, being a smaller player, and how he looks at defence in short side and long side. So jump on, have a listen, and hope you enjoy the episode because we did. Well, welcome, Semi Walker, to the Footy Nerds special. It's good to have you on board, mate, and we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule at the moment. How you going? How's life?
Yeah, it's going good. The return to play at the moment, just trying to get myself back going again. It's obviously frustrating to watching footy at the moment, but I'm on track at the moment. Hopefully, sort of 2 months time, and the knee's healing up pretty well. So hopefully, get back out there soon.
Is it your first proper injury you've ever had, or?
I've had 2 shoulder recons.
Yeah.
Early days, always had bad shoulders. Knees never had any sort of other problems besides the shoulders, and then 23, I partially tore my ACL. So it felt weird. Like I'd step and you sort of see people when they do their ACLs. When I did mine as well, I'd sort of try to stop quickly and I fully went. And I knew it, felt it pop and excruciating pain. But when I partially tore it, it was it'd likely to collapse. And I'd give way and stuff, but it wouldn't have that full pain. So I couldn't work out what was going on. And then finally got it scanned and came back with the partial tear, and so I missed about 3 months of footy in 23 with that. I came back at the back end of the year and felt fine. I got through sort of most of that 2024 season, and just unfortunately, you do the same movement 1,000 times and it doesn't go. And unfortunately, against Canberra at the back end of the year, it just decided to go on me there.
What kind of bloke are you on the sideline that when you're watching the boys, obviously they're not going as planned? Are you a player that yells and screams, or you just sit there and bite your nails? And what's the feeling like?
Yeah, it's a hard one. Hey, I'm trying to help out as much as I sort of can in video and stuff. I'm not a cheer or try not to get too overly carried on, I guess is probably the way to say it. But like I said, I'm trying to help out as much as I can, and it's just hard. You guys know what it'd be like. It's just hard as a halfback as well when you're watching footy. You want to be out there and you want to have a say on the result. I guess that's probably the biggest thing.
I was going to say to you, when you're out injured, I always found sometimes I'd pick up on more.
Yeah,
watching
for sure.
From the sideline, you're out of the emotion. You get to see how the boys are at half time and even at training. Do you pick up on much?
No, definitely. I feel like you can when you're in the heat of it. You're so worried about. Not worried, I guess, but you're spending a lot of the week trying to get your body right. You're trying to get yourself going, and when you can take a step back from that and not have to worry about that, and you can sort of watch footy from a different perspective, I guess, of worrying about having to tackle this back row. Or as a half, you don't have to worry about the defense side of it as much when you're watching, I guess, and you can focus a lot of it on attack. And there's different cues that I guess I'm sort of looking at that I want to sort of implement in my game, and different plays that I'm talking to Justin Holbrook's our attack coach at the Roosters, and trying to talk to him about certain things that I wouldn't mind doing when I come back, or the boys can sort of start implementing now that I think the trend of the game might be sort of heading in that direction. And I think I noticed that when I did the partial tear, it was I was at a step back for 3 months and probably dive into my game, and obviously I got dropped just before I partially tore it as well, so it was a good probably opportunity for me to step back and have a look at my game and why I think why I got dropped and why I was probably not performing at the level that I wanted to be at. And I feel like after that time I found some answers of it.
Well, if you don't have to go into too much detail, but what sort of answers did you find? Obviously you're a young half. We've been in that position coming in at an early age. You came and hit the scene from the start. You've been at a standout as a junior. What was the biggest shock coming into NRL when it got hard?
I feel like I found for myself that I was trying to I probably just fell away from what I do best and what my game is. I didn't want to try and mold my game on anyone. I couldn't I couldn't mold if I try to play play like you or play like Toddy. Just for me, I feel like that just wasn't who I was, and I was probably so worried about trying to get everything right for everything else, for the team, for everything, for the team, and I probably fell away from what I did best and and I found that what I do best, and if I was able to do what I did best, it was the best thing for the team rather than trying to worry about getting everyone else doing everything else on the side sort of right. And I found I just had to simplify my game into what I've done since I was 6 and 7 years old, playing backyard footy. That was the way that I wanted to play, and that was the best way that I'd get the best out of myself and the best thing for the team.
When you said you wanted to play for the team, you play a bit of a unique style of footy that everyone loves watching you. We love watching you play. Where did that all come from?
Yeah, I think for me it was just my dad and my uncle Shane. They obviously coached for a long time at Ipswich, and they played at the Jets. And if anyone sort of watched the way that they play, they played a sort of very, very unique style as well. And sort of growing up being coached like that, it was just it was such a simple style that that people played. Like you guys as kids that you used to play in the backyard with your brothers and sisters, or you play at your junior footy when you're a kid, and it was all just revolved around I guess space and playing what you see rather than what it's playing in a structure. It's more just what you see and backing your skill and giving you the confidence to go out there and do stuff under pressure.
I remember playing against your dad's and uncle's team, and they were attacking our line, and then all of a sudden they retreated. They retreated back to the 30, and like we followed them down the field. And it's like, what's going on? Like they were They were going backwards, and then they took a tackle, and then they went on from their play. And I guess obviously you can't do that at NRL level. You can do it if you do it as a team, like all structured together to do it. But a lot of your football is all instinct. Do you learn that from the backyard stuff, or do you see it actually like unfold? Like when you throw your long ball, I know when I used to throw long, I seen it first and then just threw it, or did you use your cues different?
Yeah, I sort of, I guess coming through, I feel like a lot of the stuff I do probably stemmed from, I reckon, like backyard footy, and my dad coached us my old man coached me when I was, I think under 11s. And I remember every single session we'd rock up and all we'd do is play backyard footy. Like it would just, like there'd be, say, 10, 12 kids, whatever we had. It'd just be 6 on 6, 30 metres. The whole session was just us playing touch footy the whole time together as a team. And kids in under 11s, like his dad was coaching Ipswich Jets at the time. And under 11s, like parents were pulling their kids out of my dad's team because they thought they weren't getting coached with they weren't getting coached the right stuff. But like, that's all footy. Like footy at its most basic level, that's all it is. Like that, you enjoy playing footy with your mates, and you pick up so many things from when you move away from sort of the structure, and you start seeing different things and seeing pictures that you probably see a lot more regularly in a game. Like you start picking up a lot more cues by doing the repetition of doing things over and over again. And for me, I think it's just picking up different cues. Like everyone's sort of got their different sort of cues. I know early in my career it was I probably didn't have the kicking game for myself as much, I'd say, but I think it's probably more the passing game that I had probably early in my career, I'd say. That sort of probably started. I remember my cue early days was the centre, like the centre's decision, like what he'd do. I'd sort of keep my eye a lot on the centres, and if the centre was sit back, you'd know you could just get Teddy a bit more involved and he can take it. And if he starts to come, the centre comes, there's the system that most teams have, centre comes, winger always follows. So instead of having to look all the way out to the winger, I just knew if the centre come, then the winger's most likely he's with him. So that was sort of my cue to throw long. If I seen the centre come, then I knew the centre wing usually following tangent. That's when the space over the top sort of opened up. I feel like I've got that still. I still sort of have that cue a little bit, but I feel like I've sort of over the last couple of years developed to look probably more closely at the fullback as well and their movements. It's obviously opens up the kickers, like it opens up the kick a lot for me, but I think you can learn a lot about like what teams will do depending on where the fullback is, and if he wants to plant himself on the short side, if he wants to plant himself in the open. Like fullback these days are defending as almost middles as like for half the tackle counter, then they're out of it as well. And I feel like, over the last sort of probably couple of years, I've tried to try and keep an eye on him as much, and like they'll thicken out the line or they'll hold a short side, depending on what they want to do.
Do you have a think-run mentality first? Because I know when I teach, or even when I was coming through younger, I always had that think-run mentality. But for yourself, you've got so many tricks. You accelerate really well, and you've got the option to throw long, the option to throw short. Then also you've got a neat kicking game like Alfie Langer. Like there's like 4 different options you can do. What's your first one you think to, or is it just instinct and let's play footy?
It's not really. Yeah, I try and you can get a lot of details and stuff. I try and be pretty really detailed with my, so I guess defense. Like I'm trying to keep like a good, I feel like that's a very structured thing for any team. Like your defense and your defensive movements and your defensive patterns, you want to be pretty structured with that. But I feel like for me in attack, it's more just open. I try not to. I'll have a few cues I might go into the game with, but I try not to think too much about it, and just try and, like I said, play as I see it. I feel like I can get sort of weighed down a bit if I'm going into a play thinking about what I want to do. So I try and have that, a bit more of an open mind. But I think, so I think I definitely, the run's probably the one that's probably still, I'm trying to still progress on. I feel like for me it's probably big when I was a lot younger. It's just more trying to implement that into the NRL. Like, as you guys probably know, as a young half, it can be a bit harder to try and get that run play off the back of it. I think, you look at players like Munster and Hughes, the way they play, like they're so on ball and so flat and fast, and they play that advantage line. It's definitely something that I'd love to sort of start trying to implement in my game, especially while I'm out. I can watch a lot more on how they do it.
Yeah.
What about organising a team? Obviously, you spoke about all your triggers and that flamboyant footy. How do you pull that back into just running a team and being organised? Is that more difficult for you playing the way you've always played, or it's natural to be a talker?
Yeah, I think it's pretty what's the word? I feel like you go into the week and you have, as a team, you have your sort of your basic structure that you want to what you want to run and where you want to sort of get the ball to, and I feel like I'm pretty confident as it is, like talking and organising and getting players to where I want to be, and we got a lot of obviously great voices in the team as well. Ted does a fair bit of that sort of talk as well. Had Kez for a long time there. Yeah, he played a fair bit with Kez. He had a bit of both. You know what I mean? He'd do a bit of the organising, but then he'd like that flamboyant, that out the back sort of style as well. So it was probably early days. It was a bit tougher. I was sort of trying to find that balance, and then I was probably started on one side heavy, like the flamboyant and the less organised, and then I feel like before I got injured, I was probably too far almost for myself on the other side of it, and worrying about the structure and all that sort of stuff. So it was I reckon last season was probably my first proper season. I feel like I had a lot better balance of the two for myself. Which is
an age thing too, right? You're only 22, so it comes in time, trying to compartmentalise your game, as you'd know. But your debut, I think you played against Melbourne. Was that your debut?
Nah, I think third game, I think it was, yeah.
I just remember that Melbourne game. I was playing for Newcastle, and I remember watching you just throwing these cut-out balls and just off the cuff. It was so good to watch. How were those early games coming into the Roosters? Obviously a famous club. You had a big hype on you. Physically, how did you handle all that sort of stuff?
It was the first season was pretty tough, just with a few just obviously in a smaller body, and had a few AC problems. Like I've had shoulder recons and I sort of got through them okay, and then just the ACs, getting yourself, you couldn't really train all week, and then getting the jab, horrible. They're just niggling. You know what I mean? Like there's no surgery. There's no you can give it a week, but a week's not going to do much to it. Like you just need that. You're chasing the off season,
no weights.
Yeah, nothing. You can't do anything, and so jabbing, that was tough for the first season. Trying to get yourself prepared for the game. That was sort of a tough part, but the first season, as you guys would have experienced as well, to do something that you've been chasing and wanted to do for your whole life, to be able to do that week on week was something pretty special.
I watched you play. The first time I watched you play was when you were playing for Australian schoolboys, and you blew me away just the way you played. And you spoke about that instinct to run, and you're sort of still trying to find that at NRL level. And people forget you're only 22 because the things you've done in the game so far, like the way you play. well above your weight, obviously, but also some of the things you come up with, people would think you've been around the game for 10 years. Like, you do things that some blokes like us couldn't even do. Like, where does that confidence come from? Because, like, we look at a lot of young kids now, and there's always a debate. There's no young halves in their game. Well, you're 22. Isaiah Cattell's very similar. Like, there's still halves coming through, but I guess they talk about it's the kids that come through from schoolboy level. What's your advice to them kids when they come through? Because I watch them now, and they're outstanding players, and you watch them play Queensland Cup or you watch them play NRL. They don't do what they've done when they were younger, but from watching you,
I feel
the schoolboy to into your debut and then now, you've stuck to your guns and always stuck to it. And it's like, you're not saying, well, it's my way or the highway. You're actually just doing what you do with your ability, and that's how good you are.
Yeah, I feel like the NRL is a bit, in a way, like a bit like that. It's a pretty copycat sort of, you know what I mean? It's a pretty copycat sort of league, and everyone's copied what, you know, Melbourne have done as a team over the last 10 years, or they copy the Roosters, and then they copy sort of what Penrith do as well. And I feel like, like I'd never tell a young half to sort of to notice where the fullback is, and if the fullback's in the line, chip and chase over the top of his head. Like, if that's not you as a player, don't do that. Like, you might want to try and run over the top of it. Like, you just got to find what your strengths are as a player and what you believe in and what you believe that you can do, and do that. I feel like for me, like, I'm not a half that's gonna be able to see the fullback there and, you know, run over the top of him like, you know, other halves would probably be able to do. Like, that's, for me, that's not what I know I can do, and that's not my strength. And I feel like as a young half, if I had any piece of advice, really, it'd be to really know what your strengths are and know what you're good at, and just keep doubling down on that. Like, whatever that may be, just keep doubling down. Whatever got you as far as you did, and just keep doing that. Just keep doing that repetition over and over again.
How hard is that, though, with a system like the Roosters, for example? And obviously Robbo puts a lot of faith in you, as you should, as the coach. But how hard is that as a young half to then earn that trust to be able to do what you want? You've done it. But that's obviously a certain individual to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Does he talk a lot with you about that sort of stuff?
Yeah. He I remember sort of just before I debuted, I had a good meeting with him, and we discussed the plays that I wanted to run and what sort of suited me, which helped me a fair bit. Like, if I wanted to, like, some players some players like to play in behind a lock ball playing, lock playing at the back tier, or other players would like to stand up with a, flat, whatever it might be, a flat shape. And so we sort of just discussed the plays that I preferred and what I sort of enjoyed, and presented that back to the team. And obviously you have your moments throughout the season, like every sort of half does. And if it doesn't come off, then if it doesn't work, then it's obviously going to be questions. Like, people are going to question what you do and if that style works. And I feel like, as a halfback, as you guys would know, you have to have pretty thick skin.
Yeah.
Because there's moments where it doesn't sort of come off. And I guess the only advice I'd probably have is just to keep believing in what you do and stick to what you do best.
We make mistakes as halves, and that's part of the game. How do you have any cues away from footy? Do you do like mindfulness stuff, or do you visualise things? Like, I notice if you come up with an error, you don't put your head down, you don't kick stones, you're back at it, and if anything, you go again. You actually have another crack at it, which is where some people kick it out in the full or throw a long ball and it doesn't hit the mark. They just don't go back to it, and you don't see them do it for a couple of weeks. Like, what's your cues? Do you have something that you go to when something goes wrong or something goes good?
Yeah, I feel like I feel like it's still, I reckon it's still sort of a work in progress for myself. Like, to sort of pick myself up. I have moments where, like, you're feeling, as you guys know probably, but like you're feeling, you go into a game and you're feeling really good and you're confident and stuff's sort of paying off. And then there's obviously games there where it's not coming off, and you're not feeling as confident as fluent as it usually does. And I feel like when it starts to feel like a bit like that, I feel like just for me, like, doubling down on the stuff that I know I can do well, like if it's my kicking game or helping try and get the other people around me sort of involved as much as I can. And often if you make an error, if it's a bad pass or whatever it is, or they defend it well, there's usually a cue that why they're defending it well, and whether that's mixing it up with a different shape or if it's just trying to double down on going back at them. there's usually different. It's usually like I like the thought process of trying to work out why something hasn't worked and how I can do it better the next time.
So what you're saying, if you're going down the right edge, just for the listeners, and a winger jams, that pass doesn't work, instead of going away from that out of fear of a mistake, you'll attack that again.
Yeah, like
reading off what their first movement.
Yeah, see
that's
what
very impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
what they've done there, and I think like you said, like they've stopped it. They've done something that's worked once. They've obviously usually got the confidence to try it again or do the same thing over again. And I think just trying to work out basically puzzle solving. A lot of half work is that, and working out how you can do it better next time.
Where does your knowledge and all these thought patterns come from? Like, do you watch a lot of footy?
Yeah,
like,
I'll
sitting
try
here
and
talking to you. It's not like we're not talking to a 22-year-old. Like you're pulling where we usually pry questions to get these answers out, but you're actually answering our question.
Teaching us.
Yeah, you're actually teaching us. Like if we were to go and do it again, of how we would look at those positions. Because I was complete opposite. I'd watch winger instead of centre. But so. Like, obviously, as halves, we've got to watch video. How much do you watch away from footy? Do you watch all the games?
I'll try and watch I'll try and watch every game, and I'll try and watch every game and try and pick up different patterns, I guess, of what's working in the game and what's, I guess, not. Like, I don't like to do a great deal of it's a weird one because I love watching football and I watch, like I said, pretty much every game, but then I don't like to do a great deal. I don't try and like overwhelm myself with a great deal of video on who we're playing that week, if that makes sense. Like we go into the game and what sort of plays will sort of work. I try and have like a rough gauge on the system that we want to run or how we want to sort of go about the game. But I try not to grab a great deal out of the actual game we're about to play, if that sort of makes sense. It's a hard one.
So you're not premeditating.
Try not, exactly. Yeah, that's the best way to say it. That's the word I was looking for. Like, try not to premeditate it and have that all down pat. But I love watching football, and try and watch every game.
It makes sense. It's obviously a lot to do with your father and the upbringing, isn't it? Because you say it with such ease, but it's so difficult for a lot of young players with pressure and expectation to come in and have to follow what the coaches tell them. And so it's a real credit, isn't it?
Well, because a lot of
actually
kids
get it compartmentalised. That.
Yeah, well, a lot of kids that are coming through, and I teach at Keary and coach at Keary, but they stick to a structure and they have to go to that structure. And if you go away from it, people question you're part of the team. Where for you, like, it's more so, I'm going to stick to it. But if something sways away from that, I'm taking it because that's how I play. Yeah,
it's obviously difficult as well. Like I've had like stinkers of seasons as a 14, 15-year-old, and it's hard, obviously, like through the grades as well. Like there's so many different you have 6 or 7 coaches throughout a full year as a kid, and it does make it hard for a lot of kids because some coaches throughout the grades will like they'll want you to play a certain way that might not suit the way you want to play, or you can't do certain things that'll suit the way that you want to play. And I feel like it's still like just having the belief in yourself. Like if you have one bad season, or if you had a period there where it's not going for you as well, and you can't do exactly what you want, that's one little period in your life. And I remember I had sort of as a kid growing, I had a season there where I wasn't allowed to leave the right. I wasn't allowed to leave the right hand side of the field, so I was a right hand half. You're a right hand half. You can't leave the right hand side of the field. Like there's something on the left hand side. Like there could be 13 players in front of you, and there's 0 on the other side of the field, but you're not allowed to leave that side of the play.
Crazy.
And I was the worst football you've ever seen. Like if anyone watched me play, they would have went like, who is like? But then for some people, it might suit the way that they want to play because it just simplifies their game. And if that works for you, then that works for you. But like obviously, like I said, some coaches will have different ways of playing, and it suits some people and doesn't suit other people.
You obviously with Luke gone last year, and you got a bit of a transition. Your age coming into the mid-20s. You're going to start.
Jeez, not yet. Calm down.
What are you now? 22.
Mid.
Jesus,
okay, another 15 years left, bro. You're flying.
Yeah.
But obviously, you're going to have to start to take more control, being on the ball. Do you see yourself playing that real dominant role over the next couple of years, or do you prefer sort of sharing a role with this sort of 6?
No, for sure. I think, I feel like my voice was definitely at the start to grow a bit more, which I feel like it did. Like I feel like probably, like I said, I was probably sort of going from that all flamboyant side, and then trying to find that balance. And I feel like still having that balance for myself, but then it's probably, like you guys are saying, just trying to find a bit more of a voice, and doesn't have to be as much on the field, because I feel like on the field it's you have a voice there, but like I feel like my voice is pretty good on the field, and it's probably more, I'd say, like Kez was unbelievable at like installing confidence, I guess, in the team pre-game and throughout the week, and having that belief going into the game. And I feel like that's probably an area where I can sort of grow in my development, like the talk through training and through video sessions, and pre-game going into the game and installing, like you said, confidence in the rest of the team that we'll get the job done.
What would Luke do, just to give the listeners a bit of insight? What sort of stuff would he do to own that team during the week?
Yeah, I feel like he just, no matter how things were going or what was happening, the confidence in which he spoke about, like if we're going to do something, like it's like we control everything. That's most things that happen on the field. We have a big say in it, and throughout the week, whatever the system or however or the style of football that we wanted to play that week, the vocabulary that he used and the belief that he spoke with going into the games, it fed all us other players.
You've had some, obviously been around the Roosters for a bit. You've had some good leaders there. Obviously Teddy's getting to the back end. You've always said that Roosters is your home and you want to stay there long term. Is aspirations to be a captain a big part of your drive? Like,
to be honest, I haven't probably thought too much about it. Like at the moment, I'm sort of, I want to try and, as a halfback, I want to be able to grow my voice. And like I said, that talk throughout the week is a big one for myself. But I guess it's always something. It's in the back of your mind. It'd be pretty cool to do, but it's probably not something I've probably put too much thought into as of yet. But like you said, like there was so many great leaders that we've sort of had. I know Boydo, he was sort of led with all his actions, and and Friendy as well. I sort of had a pre-season with them, and I learned so much just off the back of a pre-season. I didn't get to play. I played a trial game with Friendy, but I didn't get to sort of play with Boydo and Friendy in the NRL. But I guess the way that they went about their work was pretty cool to learn off.
Can you tell us what it's like going into, as a young kid, going into pre-season and seeing someone like Boyd Cordner? Like, we're great mates, so we sort of understand a little bit, but like for someone new coming in, what was it like? What was the feeling like seeing him talk? And then obviously then, as you said, he leads with actions. What's that like for a young kid?
Yeah, it was so cool, and you don't exactly know what to expect, and you coming from Ipswich, and I just had a shoulder recon as well, and my first sort of couple of days at pre-season, I think I was floor pressing 6 kilos. So I was everyone's doing people are doing 200 kilo squats and bench pressing 160 kilos, and there's this little 70 kilo kid from Ipswich floor pressing 6 kilos, and thinking, what are these blokes going to be thinking of me here? Like, this is just hopeless. And then, but like the way the sort of the people that they are and the way they sort of carry themselves, they really get around everyone, and they make everyone feel welcome, and it makes sure everyone feels that they have a voice, that they don't think they're bigger than sort of anyone else, and they make you. I think they just make you feel really welcome and comfortable to be yourself, which probably helped with my football as well, because I felt comfortable enough to be myself and be who I am.
Coming through as a kid, who was the halves you sort of looked up to? Obviously, you followed your dad, and you were pretty unique in your ways. Was there any guys that you sort of, or grabbed bits and pieces out of their game that you reckon's helped you now?
I was a massive Roosters fan as a kid, so obviously I watched.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, I told Piercy a few times. I've told you, you're my favourite going up. Nah, obviously, being a Roosters fan, I watched you a fair bit, and I loved the way Jimmy Maloney played as well. He was someone that I guess you probably got a lot more stories where he looked like he could, make the biggest throw an intercept or make the biggest mistake, and just feel like it didn't faze him. And I probably tried to take a lot of that about how he did that, and I guess implement it a bit in my game. Awesome. Well, I guess what was he like with that coming playing with him obviously for so long, like how did he handle that, like making an error, or just feel like it didn't phase him? Or
Yeah, well, sitting across from you, Sammy, sort of, you got a similar temperament to an extent. Obviously, your ability to sort of stay out of the emotion and keep doing the next job. Jimmy was the best at that. Jimmy would he'd leak 2 tries off his own bad doing or kick the ball out in the full, and he's the first one in there spraying everyone else. But it was refreshing as a player, because in big games, as you know, you can go into half time sometimes and there's that tense energy where Jimmy wouldn't get caught up in that emotion. He wouldn't get anxious. He'd keep it free, and it rubs off on the group. So in big games, even though he'd come up with a few errors, he came up with so many match winners, and he was refreshing to play with. And I'm probably one that was a bit more of a system guy, where it was like when I played with Toddy, you need a bit of yin and yang the way you play. So that's a good question for you. Obviously, you played with Luke. What's your ideal half to play with? Have you got one in particular? Do you like a runner, or do you like someone that can sort of allow you to play first and second receiver?
I feel like I'm not too sure really. Hey, like I've had Kez for a fair bit, and I feel like last year we finally it really clicked for us last year in the way that we wanted to play, and his sort of style I really enjoyed playing like the style that he played, and he gave you a lot of confidence to go and back yourself and do what you want. And then he knew that if you were a little bit off, he could sort of take control of that talk in the group and steer that. And if you're on, he'd sort of let you go and let you play. He had that pretty cool temperament where he sort of knew what the game needed and what sort of your halves partner needed as well. And that was pretty cool to sort of be able to learn off him. And I've had a couple of games with Sando now, and I love the way that he plays as well. He's got that sort of free spirit, and he's a touch player, growing up, and he's got a lot of that the touch football skills as well there.
With blokes, if say for instance when you come back and it's you and Sandon, who's the cool head? Because obviously we know at some point in games, if you're on the back foot, who do you feel you've got not the skills, but like the knowledge to go, okay, it's time to rein it back in, Sand, let's do something. And like, what's your cues for that? Like when you need to actually pull the reins back on the team?
Yeah, I think I think that's something that I've got to grow as probably the more experience, played the more games, and that's something that it's definitely something I've been working towards. And I feel like I've got a pretty good knowledge of when, like what sort of the play that's sort of needed in certain moments. And I like the games when there's like the scenario. I love the positions when you get into a position with 10 whatever it may be, like 10 to go in a game, and there's a certain scenario. I love those situations in games where it's you're up by 4 and you got to protect a lead, or you're chasing points. Like I enjoy working out, and like I was almost like puzzle solving, trying to work out how you're gonna get the team over the line.
When you obviously as a young kid, obviously your ability has got to where you are. For our younger listeners or parents out there wanting their kids to become the next Sam Walker, what was your training regime like as a kid with passing, kicking? Did you do a lot of it? Like, I know I kicked a lot with Peace. Was the same. Well, footy nerds, the other halves I spoke to, is it something that you always done in your spare time?
Yeah, for sure. Like I didn't grow up with like a lot of people these days, like PlayStations and all those sort of gaming stuff.
That's the killer.
Yeah, I never grew. I'm glad I never grew up with any of that sort of stuff, and our parents are really strict on making sure that we were out in the backyard. So for 6 months of the year, it was league and touch with the sports, and every day we'd be out in the backyard. It'd usually my 2 brothers, and I was the older brother, so 2v1. It's probably where my kicking game sort of came from, because it's hard to run around, run around 2 blokes. So you'd try and you had to work out how to chip and chase, or had to put a grubber through and sit it up, and probably learn a lot of that skill from there. And then the other 6 months of the year was cricket, and I think that taught me a lot. Hand-eye coordination, and that sort of touch, I guess, probably a bit as well.
That short kicking game you speak about, because I was spoken to Adam Reynolds recently about how good his short kicking game is, and I remember that was a weakness of mine I had to work really hard on. Your short kicking game's out of this world. Everyone compares it to Alfie Langer, and it's pretty honest. Accurate comment. But how did you what do you do? You don't have to give us all your cues, but is it a lot of video, or is it just practice?
I don't do any sort of video on it. Like you sort of know the fullback and what his sort of movements are in a game, but it's just I guess trying to work out like like I like to try and work out how it's gonna work in a game. And a lot of so I guess younger sort of people, it's easy in the junior footy to stand from me to the camera away and try and put a kick in, because no one's working on trapping the ball and doing it, and grab it along the ground and it'll get through and you don't have to worry about that. But as you're sort of going through the grades and when you get to the NRL level as well, you've got to work different heights on the ball or different shapes. If you're just going to run and look like you're going to kick the ball, they're going to know exactly what you do. So it's about selling it in every other way, making them think you're going to do anything else but kick the football, and until it's through the line. And I guess that's something that I'm continuing to sort of work on.
You briefly touched on your brothers. Tyson is at the Roosters. In your craziest dreams, do you dream about playing with him?
Yeah, it'd be obviously something that'd be pretty cool. He's playing the 19s SG ball side at the moment, and they're going really good. They got Boydo as coach. It's a pretty cool coach to have. I think he's 17 at the moment, so he's 18 this year, and so he's got another year of it next year.
Wow.
But it'd be something that'd be pretty cool to sort of see him come through, and fingers crossed he sort of gets there. You obviously look at Egan and Nat Butcher in our team at the moment, like they're doing something pretty cool, and you always, I guess, dream of that as well.
You're on the trajectory of being a Queensland Origin player. When that happens, do you think about it now? Is it on the list of your goals? Do you set short-term goals, long-term goals? And you don't have to tell us what your goals are, but obviously every player wants to play for their state. And what do you think about? What do you manifest?
Yeah, I guess I dream a lot about football. Like obviously watching and stuff. Like I dream and spend like a lot of time thinking about the game and thinking about things that I do on the field. And I guess a lot of that time spent as well, like as a Queenslander and growing up in Queensland, and family is such a proud of where we're from and proud of what I do, and it's something you dream of as a kid. All you want to do is represent your state, and I guess do those. It gives me goosebumps now thinking about being able to represent my state and play for Queensland, and fingers crossed one day that I guess that opportunity will come up.
Where does your levels go to in the game? We spoke to Nathan Cleary. Obviously he's a little bit older than you, but they talk about levels and where you want to get to. What's the ceiling for Sam Walker? What's the part of the game that you want to continue to grow? And obviously you've got that ability just to flip the game on its head. What's the next part?
Yeah, I feel like obviously the goal every year, you want to win a comp. That's all I've dreamt about for a long time as well, is representing Queensland, and I want to win a comp as well. That's a really strong drive for me. And then individually as a player, I think for me it's just not getting set on any aspect of my game, like whatever aspect of the game, whether it's passing, kicking, tackling, whatever it is. I want to grow, and I want to be the best version of myself in all those areas. And I feel like every year I want to keep adding different parts of my game. Like we spoke about earlier, I want to really work hard on that sort of running game as well, and grow that part of my game as well. And I feel like each year I want to take a leap forward.
Dealing with criticism and expectation, you spoke about it before as a half. Are you a pretty relaxed kind of guy with that sort of stuff? Because we all take on the heat at times. Do you have things that you do, especially for young listeners, to sort of compartmentalise away from footy? I know you like your horses.
Yeah. I think with Lee, you can get caught up with it a fair bit, and I try and find a lot of like things that outside of football that that give me joy. And I enjoy my horse racing. I love playing golf as well, and I think there's football, and you can live and breathe football, but there's obviously parts and times where you need other activities, and I've got a pretty addictive sort of personality, and so I'll get hooked on golf for a fair period, or whatever it may be, whether it's horse racing and getting around that.
Manage that habit, bro.
Something we struggle with at 22, trying to work out what we want to do away from footy.
Squash that, bro.
So it can be a very good thing.
Yeah, it can.
It can be a good thing having that sort of that hobby away from footy, and I guess that's one way that helps me deal with I guess the criticism and stuff that's inevitable in our game.
Well, you got such a like I said, we've said it a few times when we sit here. It's amazing you're 22. How come? What's the knack of a cool head? Is it from your dad? Because obviously he lived and breathed it as a played himself. Like, did he instill this in you, or is it something that you've just had to, or you've watched people and that's who you are? Because it's admiring to sit here and so level-headed at 22. I was thinking just even sitting here, if I'd done this similar thing at 22, I'd be like, I wouldn't know what to say. Yeah. But it's just like you're so switched on, you're so in check with yourself, and you're so content with where you're going.
Yeah, probably just, I guess, you don't think of much of it for myself. I don't sort of think about sort of, where I'm at and stuff. And, it's probably family have probably installed a fair bit of that into me. And, I guess just believe. I guess a lot of it just comes back to believing in yourself and believing that what you do is the best way of. For me, like I believe the thing what I do is the best way of doing it, and that's sort of how I go about it. And a lot of people probably don't think it, and it's probably not the right way of going about it. But that's in my head. That's sort of the belief that I have.
What's your weekly non-negotiables away from the footy hours? So obviously you're a great goal kicker. How much time do you spend on that? What's your routines? I always ask the question of people ask me what I used to say before I kick. If you can give it away, you don't have to. But like, this is for the younger listeners.
Yeah.
What Sam Walker do away from the footy hours? How much does he kick the ball? How much does he do general play kicking, and then goal kicking?
Yeah,
which is a big part of the success of a half these days too.
Yeah, I spend usually 2 sessions a week on that goal kicking. Like captain's run's a big one. It's obviously you're trying to get your body right throughout the week, and I enjoy like a sauna and ice baths. I spend a fair bit of time doing that. For Piercy and I have gone for a couple.
Had a good one, didn't you?
Yeah.
We're going there tonight. Actually,
I'm a bit worried about this bloke in the ice bath and saunas.
Look how clear I look, bro.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, good for the soul.
Yeah, that's where we connected, man.
So I spent a fair bit of time doing that, and I guess pre-season and stuff's a good time to sort of work on your goal kicking and stuff, and then throughout the regular season, you're probably trying to get your body right. And I find captain's run's a good day. The day before the game is a good day for me to really hone in on my goal kicking. I try and spend that's my big session of the week on my goal kicking, and I've sort of got a process down pat pretty well now. Like I'm pretty confident in my setup, and I believe goal kicking is just honestly it's 100% believing in you're going to put that ball over. Like if you could have the best run up, the best whatever you want, but if you don't believe that it's going to go over, it's not going to go over. Like it's said and you're back here run up and going, I'm gonna put this ball over. Like believing that there's no doubt in your run up or in your kick that you're going to miss that kick. And so I sort of get back to the end of my run up and sort of tell myself head down, follow through, and try and I guess enjoy the moment. It's a time where you get on a football field in a game where there's 26 players, it's 26 on the field. It's a time where you get the spotlight, I guess, and it's on you completely. Everyone's watching you. The eyes are on you, and I guess instead of learning to shy away from that moment and embracing it and enjoying that you're there and you've got the ball and you're deciding a big moment in the game, I guess.
Well said.
That sounded so peaceful, man.
Yeah, well,
I was so
honestly,
mindful just listening to you talking about, but they talk about players. I was never a goal kicker, but they talk about, you hear Dan Carter, Johnny Wilkins talk about the peace that they feel in that moment. The way you explained that there was so mindful, bro.
Yeah, so that means you pride yourself on that you, when big moments need to happen in a game, you're the man that's going to take it.
You're looking forward to it, and yeah, like I said, it's a time like our game rugby league is so chaotic. It's a time to sit back and, I guess you can almost just take it all in a bit more, and it's all on you. Like it's a time. It's not physically hard or anything like that. It's just it's a process you've done. A process that you're confident in, a process that you've done a million times before, and I guess I enjoy that side of it a fair bit.
Do you watch other sports where you get this sort of, what's the word, where you get a confidence? Like if you watch someone like in another sport where you listen to, they talk about Mamba mentality of Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, these different things. Like, do you have someone away from rugby league that you aspire not to be like, but sort of to think about what they go through as their processes because they're at the top of their game?
Yeah, I feel like for goal kicking, golf's a pretty cool one. Like they do it a lot more often than sort of we do, but they have a similar sort of process and what goes through their head. And I love watching golf. I spend a lot of time watching golf, and I enjoy the way that they do the same movement a million times over, and that's why they're the best at it. And the pressure that they'd be under, like doing those, pulling off some of the shots that they have to pull off in such tough moments. It's sort of, I guess in a way it's similar to a goal kick to sort of win a game.
It's the ultimate dumping, golf. Like you can't live in the past, can you?
Nah.
It's those individual sports blow your mind a bit. Same as tennis, If you're stuck in what's happened just before, your game's fucked, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not like league where there's 12 other blokes that can save your ass. It's on you, and you're the only one that's you got full control over what's happening.
Have you ever played a full round of golf?
I played one. I was in the past. I wasn't in the moment. That's why I just walked off. But
What is it with golf that you like?
I like the competitive side. Like I love compete. I love that's obviously like you guys as well. But like love competing in league, whatever it may be. If it's be marbles for all I care, but I love that. I love the competing side of it all.
Winning?
just no horses, man.
Yeah, so just watching them.
You lose all that money, bro.
So you got I like the competing side, and then my whole family they all love it. I remember at a golf course at the Goldie, and there's about, I think there's 10 or 11 of us of the walkers that are all members there, and Christmas times or any times that I'm sort of back home, we all get out on the course and we're all playing together, and it sort of brings us all together.
That's mad.
Is family a big part of you?
Yeah, for sure. They've had my family sort of go through similar stuff that I'm going through now. They've all any sort of part of my game that I'm going through, whether it's tough times, good times, and like there's someone usually in my family that's done a similar thing, which helps me a fair bit, and I'll speak to them a fair bit to get guidance on it all and how to probably handle certain scenarios.
What is it with the horse racing? Obviously, Jared Croker's a great mate of mine, and he loves the punt, but he also loves the training side. He's got trotters, he's got gallopers. He sort of just said he loves like seeing what it's like in the background. Do you have that desire, or you just love a punt?
It's probably a similar one as well. It's like my family they're all pretty involved in it, and I could sit there and not punt for the whole day and just watch the horses run. And I like the I enjoy the preparation. I guess like to get like horses are athletes as well, I guess, and the preparation they go to. I've got a few horses with Michael Friedman. He trains a couple of mine, and I speak to him a bit, and like he'll talk about the training of the week, and you could relate pretty much the whole horse's week of training to a session, like to a week that we prepare for a game that they prepare in the exact same sort of way, and they'll have sort of they have similar injuries to us. They have similar there's a lot of things that sort of go into their process, I guess, as well.
Is that your release from footy?
I'd say golf is the main one. Horse racing will come and go. I enjoy. There's family members that are they love it. They love it a fair bit as well, and I enjoy the side where I get to talk to them about it, and we get to discuss certain things of what we're seeing on the racetrack, and picking out different things. But I enjoy that sort of side of it as well, like the talking to them. But I'd say golf's definitely the one that I probably go to the most.
Seem like an old soul. I want to ask you what kind of music you like. Like some like it'd be like 1960s or something, I reckon.
No, I enjoy country. Country music,
Like 1970s country music.
Yeah, country music.
This is why you're so relaxed.
Country music, couple of glasses of red. Yeah, that's
good.
Nice, mate. Nice.
The show's just switched on at 22. So like for the younger kids, like kids that obviously there's so many kids in the school systems at the moment at Keary, PBC, all around Sydney, the school stuff want to be Sam Walker because you're that fresh off that system. What's your advice to them around balance? Because obviously they're going to be talented, they're going to have their own traits, and you sort of touched on that. But I think the balance is a big part. Like, what's your advice to them around balance? Because it seems like you've got a really good balance, obviously with your footy and who you are, and then obviously the horse race and the golf, things like that. Like some 22-year-olds probably think, oh, fuck, I don't even know how to play golf, or I don't step. Like, so what's your advice for them?
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's just finding that escape from, you can get caught up in your head can play 1,000 tricks on you, and you can get caught up, and I feel like it's just trying to find whether that, if it might be bike riding or it could be PlayStation or whatever that sort of escape for you is. I feel like it's just finding what works best for you. Like I got golf and stuff, but I'm doing like saunas. Like I love doing saunas and ice baths. I'll do them, 4 times a week. For me, like it's just something.
Best day.
Yeah, exactly. It's so like relaxing, just calming as well, and for me that's part of it as well. I really enjoy going. Like some people wouldn't enjoy that, but I enjoy that sort of stuff as well. And for example, other people might be shopping even, like, you know what I mean? Like they might like cool clothes and stuff. For me, couldn't care what I wore, but
yeah.
There's other parts where I enjoy, my escape from rugby league.
You visualise a lot, like football-wise. I know it's a big skill. I used to do a lot of it. Going into a game, do you visualise, your wingers coming in and jamming, or the early kick? Like, is there a lot of that?
I feel like it's not so much. I don't try and set aside. Like I might have a little bit of time towards it, but for me, like I'll just do it. I feel like I just do it naturally. Like I could sit here now and like I just start dreaming about like things that I've done on the field, or like pictures that I've seen and what I might maybe wish I'd done. And if I get that picture again, I want to do that again. But I guess it's not, for me, it's probably more like, I call it more dreaming rather than visualizing. And I spend a lot of time, whether it's not really setting it aside, but it's more just like if you're lying there at night time, I might just be thinking about certain things, or in video sessions it might just be, you're thinking about what you've just seen and what you want to go out there and execute.
Do you see yourselves, obviously you got plenty more years of footy left, but like is coaching a part of your journey at the back end? Obviously it's probably too far away to even think, but it's just a question we like to ask, because like if you were a coach for young kids, how would you coach them?
Yeah, I it's not something I've thought about or I've even put any second of thought into about after my career, but I enjoy the side of it even now while I'm playing. Like while I'm injured, there's a period there where I couldn't train. I couldn't run yet. I was just sort of in crutches and stuff. And a lot of the young halves, even at the Roosters now, that are coming through, like if I could help them out in any way or give them sort of any advice, and I'm more than happy to, and I really enjoy that side of it as well. So probably eventually it'd be something that I'd probably want to look into as well. But for now, while I'm playing, I still want to be able to, I guess you're coaching a bit as well at the moment while you're playing.
Yeah, well, before we finish with 2 questions, and one's a weird one to answer, but advice to young kids, which you've already said, but just sort of give us 3 little cues for younger kids that want to be like you, about what to work on and what they should be doing. Yeah,
I think sort of what I touched on already, but that just believing in whatever you do and knowing what you do best, and whether that's writing it down or just even thinking about I guess the 3 best things or 3 or however many number it is of you, what your strong suits are of your game, and just keep doubling down on whatever they may be.
And the last one is, why are you so good, and what's the secret?
Everyone laughs at this one. Don't be humble.
Jesus.
Yeah, don't be humble.
Belief, I'd say. Goal kicking, playing as well. It's easy to beat yourself up, I guess, but just believe. Yeah, I guess believe in what you do.
Well, Sammy,
love that, bro.
It's been great to have you on the Footy Nerds 6 and 7 special. You've blown us away. So well done. Good luck with the rest of this year, if you with the Roosters and so on. And I'm sure we'll have you on again in years to come.
Sounds good. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thanks, brother. That was so good.